Foundations of amateur radio. One of the potentially trickier aspects of putting together your shack is connecting the radio to the antenna. On the face of it, the challenge is limited to making sure that you have mating connectors on both ends. But when you actually start implementing this, you'll run into several other considerations. The very first one, as I said, is the connector. Every amateur I've ever spoken to goes through the same process. You pick a connector, typically the one that your radio comes with, then you adapt the connector on your coaxial cable to suit. Then you'll get an SWR meter, a dummy load, some testing gear, a coax switch or two, perhaps another radio or an amplifier, and along the way you'll discover that you now have a growing collection of connectors to choose from, and that's just the connectors inside the shack. After considering connectors, you'll start to contemplate the coax itself. You'll likely weigh price against signal loss, but there are other aspects to the selection of the right coax for the job. For example, how do you get the coax actually into the shack? One of the main challenges associated with solving that problem is surprisingly something that rarely affects our hobby, other than any human factors associated with the phenomenon of weather. Getting coax into a shack generally involves passing through a weatherproof barrier of some sort. In doing so, you're likely to create a place where the weather can make its way into places it's not supposed to. Water can and will travel along your coax. Hopefully on the outside of it, but if you're unlucky, on the inside too, likely destroying it along the way. At first glance, you'll think that water only travels down with gravity, and in an ideal world you'd be right. But as it happens, water will happily do other things, like get blown by the wind, or condensate in temperature gradients like those found near a hole you just created in your lovely weatherproof barrier. If your shack has existing openings, they're generally the easiest to appropriate. Things like gaps in the eaves, existing vent holes between roof tiles or sheet iron, plenty of existing places where you can get from inside to outside a shack.